The topic for today is estrogen metabolism and natural method of detoxification. Dr. Nario, the floor is yours. Please resume your presentation.
All right, thank you so much for that. Should I just press share screen? Is that how it
Yes,
goes?
yes, you can.
All right.
Another medical doctor who has become homeopath. So, right direction.
To the other side. I kind of converted myself, I guess.
Yes, that's
Saw the
amazing.
light, right? Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a lecture. This is something that a lot of my conventional colleagues have requested me to do, but I'm gonna make it a little bit more revamped in relation to our homeopathic presentation here today. So anyway, welcome everyone. Thank you, Bio Quantum Academy and Dr. Parvin for inviting me to speak today. Hopefully I can give you a better and deeper understanding of one of our favorite hormones, especially in hormone replacement therapy, which is also one of the most misunderstood in relation to its health benefits, which is estrogen. We will discuss its metabolism and its significance in the clinical setting. Is my audio okay?
Yes, yes, it's okay.
All right, okay. So let's start with the definitions first. So what is estrogen? In females of reproductive age, estrogen is primarily produced by the ovaries before menopause. And the hormone is synthesized in granulosa cells in the ovarian follicles, which converts androgens, which is produced by the theca cells, into also estrogen by the enzyme aromatase. This production is regulated by the pituitary hormones called FSH and LH. During the reproductive years, this ovarian estrogen plays a central role in regulating the menstrual cycle, maintaining bone density, and supporting cardiovascular and reproductive health. Post-menopause, or even after, I guess, even in menopause, ovarian estrogen production significantly decreases as the ovarian follicles are depleted. Estrogen production then remains primarily an extragonadal source, especially adipose or fat tissue, as we call it, where androgens from adrenal glands are converted to estrogen by aromatase. In smaller amounts, estrogen is also produced in tissues like skin, brain, bones, although these sources are not as substantial as ovarian production. Additionally, the adrenal glands continue to contribute a precursor hormone called androstenedione, which can be converted into estrone in peripheral tissues. So some estrogen facts here that we probably want to know. We all know that the most common hormones involved in our system would be estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and even cortisol. Today, we will focus on the most dynamic one of all, at least for me, due to its function in various forms, which is estrogen. Best way to really understand it is to quote the endocrinology Bible for us medical doctors, which every OB-GYN knows about. And this is the Spear-Off book of clinical gynecology, endocrinology, and infertility. As defined here, estrogen is number one, in luteal phase, specifically made in day 1 to 14 for regular cycles. And always remember, day 1 is actually the start of bleeding of consistent flow, leading to a thicker endometrial lining. Number two, it causes growth on any reproductive organ of a female, breast, uterus, ovary, specifically when alpha receptors are stimulated, leading to proliferation. I'll explain the receptors in a little bit so you could understand that more. And also, this is one of the reasons why there's a cancer scare about estrogen because of the growth stimulating factors that it has. Number three, when estrogen is mentioned, we also need to note progesterone. Progesterone provides balance for estrogen action. Reason why we usually give progesterone during hormone replacement therapy along with estrogen. Number four, usually if estrogen is unopposed, it can lead to reproductive cancers via cancer cell activation. Here's the stereogenic pathway. Looks intimidating, right? You will see on the bottom of our target of our discussion today would be estrogen metabolism only. In my opinion, this is another aspect of other than just understanding what E1, E2, E3 are. We should be worried about how they are metabolized and are used by our cells of the body. So the good, the bad, and the ugly, let's define our characters here first. E3, estriol is our good angel. E2 is stuck in the middle and can turn into bad or good. E1, which is the evil one, as we quote, because it's always up to no good. And I will use a common urine test panel that we use here in the US in my practice to understand the pathways of estrogen in my patients. When I started, I thought knowing what E1, E2, E3 was enough for me to manage women's health. But as I studied this more, I realized that I was only scratching the surface. This concept of estrogen metabolism is needed for me to give proper and thorough care for my patients. Always bear in mind the receptor effects in relation to estrogen function. Alpha stimulation promotes growth, beta stimulation inhibits growth. So E1, as the bad, we labeled it, due to its more alpha stimulating properties, is a weak estrogen with only about 1/5 the binding affinity as E2. It increases the risk of developing breast cancer, though to be related to endocrine disruptors such as BPA, and BPA likes to stay in fat or in adipose tissues. That's why sources of E1 is related to adipose storage. E2, the ugly, the most potent type of estrogen, is stuck in the middle and can turn into bad or good. It has equal receptor stimulation during reproductive years. This is prominently made due to the high functioning ovarian production. E3, which is good estrogen, estriol, a weak estrogen again, with tissue selective activity in the lower reproductive tract. And usually it's related to the birth canal. That's why it's created more during pregnancy. And it also is being used in estriol creams to lubricate the vaginal canal. So why we like this is due to its estrogen receptor beta dominant stimulation. Well, another good way to understand this process is if you have two children, right? Two kids, and you gave money to them. You want to know how they will use it. One child went out partying and spent all his money on booze, and one child saved his money in the piggy bank for college. I don't even know how much you can save in a piggy bank. But if you use estrogen in bioidentical hormone replacement therapy protocols, if you create more bad estrogens called 4-OHE, then you do more harm. If you create more good called 2-OHE, then you are more protective. So more about these terms later. We have now established E1 as the bad estrogen. Even called as such, our body still has a way to save us from its bad effects. Let's talk about the different roads where we will dispose and manage estrogen. As we encounter various external toxins, usually they are fat soluble and they are filtered through the liver. Phase one involves cytochrome P450 enzymes in the liver, partially as part as phase two needs to get in there to act on these partially processed toxins due to them being still reactive, meaning considered toxic. Reason why phase two conjugation reactions should always be made sure to be worked on. And then after phase two, as compounds are now safe to be eliminated in water-soluble form, then phase three, which is elimination usually by the gut, finishes the job. This is what we always refer to in practice as detox. And I'm sure many products have encountered in your practices claims to detoxify patients, right? Herbs, colon cleanses, diuretics, etc. And this is the process that is involved in all of these. And here are some of my favorite homeopathic liver detoxification remedies in women. And who doesn't know Cardus marianus, milk thistle? It's known for liver regeneration. This remedy is often recommended for women who may have liver concerns linked to hormone metabolism. So as you would see, this is actually related to, again, when you talk about constitution, women specifically will benefit from this. It supports liver function and many may be helpful in cases of even liver inflammation. The other one is Taraxacum officinale. Who doesn't know about dandelion? Commonly used to stimulate bile flow and promote liver health, often suggested for liver sluggishness, especially for women, again, experiencing mild toxicity or hormonal imbalances that may strain liver function. And another one is Chelidonium, known specifically for liver and gallbladder support, suggested when there is usually right-sided abdominal discomfort, jaundice-like symptoms, or a yellow skin tone. also noted for improving bile flow. This is the overview process on how unused estrogen is primarily metabolized in the liver via phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification, and number 3 will be the gut. We will go through this as we go along with the discussion. Out of all the phase 2 processes, important ones that you should remember for estrogen metabolism would be methylation and glutathione pathway. Always remember the statement on the bottom. It occurs physiologically in numerical order, 1, 2, and 3, but should be addressed clinically in a patient in reverse order, 3, 2, and 1. And this is important, for this shows us the process that happens in our body and how we will manage this in our patients. What we can, I guess, consider in terms of what affects these detox pathways to go wrong would be what we call SNPs, or single nucleotide polymorphisms. Phase 1 and 2 are influenced by gene structures and alterations. We call them SNPs. These are substitutions of single nucleotides at specific positions in the genome, leading to alteration in function of the enzyme. Worse if you have homozygous, meaning 2 abnormal genes, and 1 abnormal called heterozygous, which is lighter in terms of manifestation. Usually this is more intricate than that, but let's just establish that basic knowledge for today's discussion. And here's a famous urine metabolite test that we have here in the US. When we say single nucleotide polymorphism in phase 1, with the ones encircled as you see here, which is the CYP1B1, 1A1, and 3A4, it leads to upregulation or faster functioning. Remember, when you hear the word CYPs, it's always related to liver function. With SNPs in phase 2, as you would notice here as encircled, leads to downregulation, meaning lower functioning. Emphasis again only on estrogen metabolism are specific for methylation and the glutathione pathway. Here you would see as an example the SNP on the CYP3A4, which leads to more 16-OH production. Usually when this is high, there is a high environmental endocrine disruptor exposure for the patient, like BPAs, PCBs. So all of these chemicals that are around us affects this. Always remember, phase 1 SNP, it increases enzyme activity. Phase 2 SNP decreases enzyme activity. Phase 1 relates to cytochrome P450 enzymes, and phase 2 related to COMT and glutathione pathways. So with the upregulation here of the CYP1A1, you would notice that there will be an increase in 2-OE1, which is actually slightly protective for our bodies. And let's start with the pathway for the production of the good estrogen, which is the protective pathway. Enzymes involved here in phase 1 is CYP1A1, leading to the production of more 2-OHE1. Now let's move forward to 2-OHE1. Even though it's not methylated yet already, it still has good benefit. Slight protection towards breast cancer cells. Breast cells to prevent from cancer. Not enough though, we still need to push for this 2-OH1 to be methylated to be more protective from 4-OH. Later on, you'll understand what 4-OH is. As 2-OHE1 gets methylated by COMT, it now leads into the formation of the 2-methoxyestrogens, which has now therapeutic use in breast cancer and even cardiovascular disease. So this is where we want to be. Remember, polymorphisms are associated with reduced enzyme activity if lowered action of COMT leads to lower production of protective 2-MeOH and more risk for cancer. Later, you will also see how 2-MeOH acts as a buffer to prevent 4-OH to do its damage. Here, upregulation of the CYP1B1 leading to 4-OHE1, which is pro-carcinogenic, and the formation of 3,4-quinones, which are actually carcinogenic. So now let's talk about the path that we want to avoid. You would see here red line, meaning danger, stay away. CYP1B1, if upregulated, leads to cancer-forming estrogen. Here you would also see that the CYP1B1 polymorphism is associated with faster enzyme activity, leading to increased 4OH, which is also carcinogenic not only for breast cancer, but also for other reproductive cancers, according to this journal. And this is the bad boy of the group, just to show you that we need to prevent this from occurring in our system. It's very potent in terms of tissue stimulation, and not only for female reproductive organs, but also for men, thus reason to check this as well. So I'm pertaining to prostate cancer. That's why men does not only should poo-poo estrogen, because estrogen plays a big role in forming pathologies if overly produced in a man's body. And DNA adducts, as we call it, formed from 4OH, are covalent modifications of the DNA that results from exposure to specific carcinogens in short DNA damage, and thus the level of DNA adducts in normal cells can serve as a biomarker for a significant exposure to a carcinogen. Are you wondering where our favorite horsey estrogen does its damage, which is Premarin? Here it is. Why it's carcinogenic? Because it promotes actually 4OH production. Who will save us from this enemy? Nobody else but Super D. D for detox. Two paths to utilize to neutralize 4OH. Again, methylation pathway and glutathione pathway to divert it away from reaching the DNA. And this is a bigger challenge, a big challenge in not activating these pathways would be, again, the SNPs that we spoke about. So anti-HFR, we always hear about this a lot. And this is actually one that affects this specific path. If 4OH is not inactivated by COMT, which is related to the methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase enzyme, which is responsible for the production of 5-MTHF, 4-OHE1 can be oxidized to quinone compounds that will attack the DNA. What did we say about phase 2 detox steps? It's always down-regulated in terms of processing. Worst SNP is the C677. Milder defect is the A12. We can see how it contributes to cancer even with a milder defect, and homozygous is worse, meaning two genetic problems. We should be checking this initially, and you can do this in a regular blood test here in the US. The other arm is the actual glutathione pathway. If you do a genetic test, a specialized test here again in the US, these are the results that you will see. If it's absent, you need more aggressive replacement by giving glutathione, NAC, and the precursors. And also, if it's if it's present still, we still want to be supportive regardless. If you think about it, is it good to have a CYP1A1 SNP so it can just supply the body with protective estrogen? Now, understanding both 2OH pathway and 4OH pathway on how they work, we can now understand CYP1A1 better. Remember, if there is a phase 1 SNP, it will be upregulated. Increased 2OHE1, which is still unmethylated and not ideal for cancer protection because we want it to be methylated, remember, reason why we need more of the methylated to protect us from the 4OH load. This is how a CYP1A1 SNP contributes to the worsening condition of an increasing 4OH load. Not forgetting 16OH, on literature, it is still considered an estrogen receptor stimulator, though not as strong as 4-OHE1, but I still consider it to be worth lowering down. And special mention about endocrine disruptors that can modify intracellular communications and functions found in our favorite detergents, perfumes, plastic bottles, cleaning agents, pathologies are always produced mostly by affecting phase 1 by these specific compounds. They affect hormonal balance, metabolic, and even cancer activity. Special mention again about our phases here as we move on, reminding you guys that we always need to focus on the numeric order of 3-2-1 in terms of treating the patient, and also understanding that it happens in the body in the sequence of phase 1, 2, 3. And now let's go to elimination. So the gut is the factory that will package estrogen out to accumulate in the system and dispose of it properly. We have to have good gut workers to do this. We need a bile, a good microbiome, and less inflammation all in combination. The estrobolome is actually, let's be specific now about the part of the microbiome that deals with the body circulating estrogen. They distribute estrogen in the body for its systemic effects. Lifetime exposure to estrogen causes greater microbial damage. Thus, they regulate just the right amount the body needs if we have the right balance in the estrobolome. This leads to, as we see, that the capacity in hormone regulation can be comparable to a prepubescent microbiome if we get this right. It's going to be complete again, higher short-chain fatty acid production, food for enterocytes in the microbiome. Overall, a happy gut, happy hormones. What disrupts the microbiome? And we probably know about this, but let me just refresh everybody that, of course, C-sections, this actually prevents the passage of normal flora of the vaginal canal to go through the baby's mouth to form the initial microbiome strains. And we always want to have breastfeeding moms because breast milk actually inoculates the baby's gut to give them the initial strains that it needs. And as we all know, antibiotics, they're like nuclear bombs in our guts. Especially a good example would be Lyme patients. And chronic stress leads to sympathetic response, which lowers blood flow, leading to a lot constipation, but really low blood flow to supply for the microbiome sustenance and how they live. Even inhaled steroids, I have to remind everybody, it disrupts the microbiome. It's not only oral steroid that does that. Gluten and dairy are common allergen sources that we should always avoid. And SAD, a frowny face, which stands for the standard American diet. People think we always need more protein here in the US. People want meat, but instead, we are lacking in daily fiber intake. And also, our diet lacks in color. Fries and burgers doesn't bring color. Unless pushing the remote and putting chips in your mouth is exercise, then majority of the population are all fit. Circadian rhythm disruption and eating foreign food during travels leads to many gut reactions. And in mold, for example, people have low MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone, which disrupts the gut barrier. And a lot of people does not sleep anymore. It sheds the gut lining and actually lessens the microbiome diversity. This is the phenomenon everyone is describing as leaky gut. As the broken barrier seen, now foreign substances can now get in the circulation to create inflammation. These two above are the major effects in estrogen metabolism, but in general, intestinal permeability leads to systemic inflammation, leading to suppressed ovarian hormone production and growth of unwanted bacteria to increase unconjugated estrogens back into the circulation. Here, this is what we call beta-glucuronidase, and let's stick with the term is UDP glucuronyl glucuronyl transferases, but let's stick with the UGT term here. These are enzymes that binds drugs, xenobiotics, and estrogens, and they play an important part of phase 2 detoxification, then connects phase 3 detoxification altogether, wherein toxins and hormones are bounded to glucuronic acid, which turns it into water soluble. It's a mechanism that is protected for the body. After liver processes will now be delivered to the gut, where it may be interacting with beta-glucuronidase enzymes. Phase 3 starts when estrogen is transported to the gut. You will see that conjugated estrogens are ready to be delivered out of the gut because it is bounded to UGT, like a garbage truck carrying garbage. Beta-glucuronidase enzymes are produced by bad bacteria. They remove the estrogen from the UGT, like removing loaded trash already from the garbage truck, and puts it back into the circulation. Most estrogen should exit the body via the colon. With beta-glucuronidase, some will be excreted and some will be recirculated. That's why high beta-glucuronidase will be leading to high recirculating bad estrogens. The symptoms of elevated beta-glucuronidase, look at the symptoms. What do they all look like? Heavy periods, cramping, headaches. They're all similar to estrogen dominance. And I want to explain to our crowd here that hot flashes, we always think, oh, it's low estrogen. It's really not. It's more of the disproportion of estrogen and progesterone. That's why one of the approaches that I do is I want to increase my progesterone to catch up with the high estrogen so that hot flashes can be abated. But let me talk to you about my homeopathic approaches for estrogen dominance. And all of these remedies that I wrote down here shares common symptomatologies. Like you can use it on patients with hot flashes, night sweats, heavy bleeding, even depression. The difference would be the keynote symptoms. For example, sepia. Sepia is the most commonly prescribed homeopathic remedy for estrogen dominance. And the thing that you need to look out for is these patients would be having aversion to sexual partners with great desire to exercise. Everything also is described to be like shutting down for them. Another one is lachesis. To manage, again, their intense physical symptoms and extreme emotions, and everything seems to be like ramped up, like a volcano ready to be exploding or to blow out. The other one is belladonna. This is with intense physical symptoms, with a fairly even emotional state. Pulsatilla, emotional sensitivity and weepiness with desire for comfort. Cal carb, patients usually feel chilly. These are responsible and overwhelmed women with hot flashes and also weight gain. Another one would be Sabina. These women would have severe pains with the gushing flow of blood during menstruation. And remember, this is now the treatment phase. What I always want to remind you over and over again, treat the patient 3-2-1. Understand that the physiological process is, of course, 1-2-3. The main goals here is to rebalance the gut for phase 3. Let's move that gut and normalize beta-glucuronidase. How do we do that? Fiber supports healthy microbial balance. Here's the proper distribution of 55% insoluble fiber to 45% soluble fiber. Just to remind everybody what soluble fiber is, fiber that dissolves in water, forms a gel-like substance, and this slows down digestion and promotes absorption. Examples of this would be lentils, nuts, oats, and certain fruits and vegetables. Insoluble fiber means that it's fiber that does not dissolve in water. It helps a food move through the digestive system at a quicker rate. It does not dissolve. It adds bloat to the stool and leads to laxative effects. Good for constipation. Examples would be vegetables and whole grains. Lignins are actually structural materials in the support tissues of most plants and are particularly important in the formation of cell walls. And we need more color in our food. These are the phytonutrients and antioxidants we eat according to like the rainbow, as we always say. And also add spices like curcumin, though even with poor oral bioavailability, if it's in the gut, it actually promotes diversity in the microbiome when they get being fed on by the different bacterial strains. And also FDA here notes that milk, wheat, and soy are top allergens, meaning a lot of gut inflammation-related diseases and should be avoided. For probiotics, the ones that I really recommend for estrogen detoxification is L. acidophilus and Bifidobacterium lactis B107. It's known for beta-glucuronidase deactivation for healthy estrogen metabolism. And here, rebalancing the microbiome, as I mentioned, disrupted circadian rhythms in turn disrupts the microbiomes and properties in hormones as well. And 20 to 30 minutes per day at least of exercise to increase heart rate and sweating. And exercise has shown to increase butyrate and reduce pro-inflammatory cytokines and oxidative stress in the gut. Vitamin D, zinc, C, and even quercetin. We have encountered these supplements during COVID. And healthy immune response keeps inflammation down and supports hormone production. Choline, B6, folic acid, B12 to promote bile synthesis and efficiently bundle toxins up and estrogen metabolites for removal from the body via the gut. And of course, lessen the stress effects of your body. Constant fight, flight, or freeze quickly disrupts the microbiome. Phase two is for methylation. And this is actually something that I would always say that maintaining SAMe availability will encourage COMT activity. And methionine is the one that's important if there is low homocysteine. And here is our usual supplement supporting cast for methylation. You know this, magnesium, all the B complexes that are methylated, and TMG. Next would be phase two glutathione, and these are my favorites. There's so many out there. And glutathione, I'll just give you my dosing. Reduced glutathione is 1 to 3 grams per day. NAC, which is a precursor of glutathione, 600 to 3,000 milligrams per day. Lipoic acid, 200 to 1,000 milligrams per day. Whey protein concentrates, 2 to 3 servings per day. Magnesium, 400 milligrams minimum. For vitamin C, 500 milligrams minimum. Vitamin E would be around 400 international units minimum, and silymarin 400 to 1,200 milligrams per day. Pantothenic acid would be 500 to 1,000 milligrams per day. SAMe around 4 to 800 milligrams per day. But caution when you use this, because brain stimulation might occur at the beginning. And the famous 3 amino acid that forms glutathione: glutamate, glycine, and cysteine. And our modulators for phase one, which are the CYP450 enzymes, purple grapes with resveratrol. And resveratrol is known to block dioxin induction via aryl hydrocarbon receptors. Our berries, e.g., CG, also in green tea. In my years of practice, I always have thought that giving DIM or I3C in a hormonal imbalanced female is beneficial, thinking that it's fixing all the metabolism issues that there are. Until, with my experience, it actually became a double-edged sword. So don't start all hormonal female cases with DIM or I3C without checking metabolism. How can it hurt? As the literature above states, I3C or DIM can increase CYP1B1 activity. It will push the red arrow down further to create more 4OH. It will accelerate the formation of bad 4OH, especially if your glutathione and methylation detox pathways are not fixed yet to divert it away from creating more of it. This is the reason why I fix phase two first, and then phase one. And of course, 3 should be the first one before giving DIM or I3C. And for me, personally, indications of estrogen use in my practice, a few reasons why I assess estrogen metabolism, and I'm sure there's more for other practitioners. I use it on women with adenomyosis, endometriosis, ovarian cysts, fibroids. Question in my head is, why are they forming these? Are these pathologies in the estrogen usage that we need to uncover? Data shows that there are phase 1 and 2 abnormalities that are involved in these problems. Another indication is for patients who are on hormone therapy. If they're using hormones the right way, patients with higher risk possibilities of also developing breast cancer with like positive BRCA genes, breast lumps, cysts, and fibrocystic changes. All these changes are what we call chances of malignancy transformation or development can all be considered in these cases. And also even for my patients who are on BHRT, if I want to know if estrogen is being overused and causing bad stimulation. And the most prominent in my patients now are the post-breast cancer patients, because I take care of breast cancer here. And these are the ones who went through chemo, surgery, radiation. The mentioned managements are good in removing the symptom of cancer. And to follow up, the estrogen test will now look for the root cause that caused this in the body in the first place. So question and comments and feedback, and yes, even complaints, please contact me with all my heart and gratitude. I want to thank all of you for taking time for learning from my lecture, and hopefully I have given the gift of education to you in helping our patients achieve better health. Happy upcoming holidays to each and everyone, and God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nario. It was fantastic presentation, much information. Thank you so much. And any question?
Thank you, Dr. Nario, as
Thank you.
wonderful as always. So you said happy holiday. It means that until December, you're not going to see us anymore?
Well, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to see you. I just want to advance everything.
Yes, you're a little bit too fast.
I'm always in the holiday season when the Burr months are here. So
Yes.
you'll see me putting decorations up already.
Oh, awesome. So yes, we see each other at the webinars every Tuesday. So we still have a lot to do.
Yes.
That was amazing. I just have a comment on the part of homeopathy. As you know, I always focus on that part. With the homeopathic remedies that you mentioned, this homeopathic medicine or the female liver drainage.
Hmm.
I just want to make a comment on that, with Hahnemannian homeopathy, there is no difference, I think, between female and male because it's just a deposit of hormones that is going to the emunctory such as liver. It's going to be removed by all those homeopathic medicine because homeopathic medicine is holistic. And I think, to my knowledge, I know that your presentation definitely is on the female and amazing, but generally speaking, it does for everybody, for children,
Right.
for females, for males, for all ages and all genders, I guess. So it's just my opinion on that. But again, that's amazing that you mentioned beautiful remedies, the female remedies such as TPL, the key those.
Well, in my situation, how I use them in individual ways is more of the constitutional presentation.
Yeah.
So, as we all know, all of those remedies kind of presents in very different ways, including their emotional state, yeah, the feelings that they present with you. So, that's how I kind of play around
Hmm.
with them in terms. Yes, you're right. They're generic, made it through how they present to me.
Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely. It was amazing the mix of your medical knowledge with homeopathic treatments that makes it very special. Um, yeah, that's great. Um,
Yeah, one thing that I can share to our practitioners here would be that even though I start them on hormone replacement therapy, I always start them with homeopathic drainage
right.
or detox. Just because when we start patients immediately already blockages in specific systems. And as part of my I guess combining both sciences, really homeopathic detox and remedies would be always safe in terms of detoxification and very mild to the system.
Mhm. Yes, that's all always do too. Like especially like my cases always when I have hard time to find a constitutional picture of the person, I start with detoxification. So detoxification with single remedy, detoxification with combinations. So to until I find the constitutional picture of the person. So the detoxification is one of the main course at the Bioquantum Academy. So doing it with homeopathy, it's amazing and it's permanent, which you're doing it. So yes. I'm always so happy when I see a medical doctor prescribing homeopathic medicine. So it's just making my day. So, any questions from Dr. Warren?
Yeah, here in Nevada, there's
Yes,
quite a
Doc.
few.
I
Dr.
want
Warren
to
has a
ask
question.
to Dr. Nario.
Mm,
Yes.
Go ahead.
If you already done with homeopathy treatment with patient cancer, are we need or necessary to keep still doing chemotherapy?
Uh, so just for your question, if you're done with homeopathic remedies, do you still do chemotherapy? Is that what you just
Yes,
said?
Doc. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in our case, since I work in a cancer center, we combine homeopathy really in a sense not to cure cancer. Do see cancer being cured by it, then we actually would definitely not move further. But we use specific parameters, for example, if these are tumor markers that are still elevated even after homeopathic remedies, we definitely need to, again, as part of our licenses, so we need to offer the chemotherapy, trust me, and even radiation and even surgery, for the reason that there is a lot of studies out there that it doesn't even enter. So that's why for homeopathy, we definitely use that as one of their first line. But if a patient suddenly, as we observe, there's aggravation of the cancer and spread, and homeopathy is not hitting the marks.
Again, but everybody knows you. Okay. Dr. Parvin Zarin is the president, dean, educator, and educator of and founder of Bioquantum Academy and international educational platform of homeopathy and integrative medicine. She has a doctorate of natural medicine. She is an international classical and medical homeopath educator and also head of departments of medical homeopathy, integrative medicine, nutritional science, and biocosmetology of Bioquantum Academy from Canada. Her discussion is on the topic cured psychiatric cases by my homeopathic treatment. Welcome, Dr. Zarin. We are very much look forward to hearing the second part of this important subject. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much again, Dr. You've done a great job since yesterday. Yes, I don't know if you remember my talk yesterday in regards to mental disorders, that the human body does not practically has mental disorders. This is the one disease that is just moves and evolves to the mental body, and the treatment of any form of mental disorders or mind alteration is just to rewind the disease into the actual natural disease that has been suppressed for a long time. If we don't have the picture of natural disease, there is no way we can treat mental disorders. So with homeopathic approach is the only way to bring the disease that is being trapped or is being evolved to the mind or to the mental body, to back to the somatic body. That's how we should do it. So as I explained something, I give you examples of the how the disease evolves from somatic, from biological body into the mental body. Yesterday I gave you an example. For example, when the eczema in children, for example, is suppressed, it moves to the respiratory system. Then actually the respiratory, such as asthmatic attacks, when asthmatic attack is suppressed, it moves to a more malignant, phase of disease. And if this goes towards, the more deepen the disease goes further, it's the chance to go to the mental body is much more. So the same as any other form of disease, that we have to have a rewinding mechanism, and in order to bring back the complex and fixed disease that is a form of is caused by suppression, to the natural disease. So that's the summary of yesterday, but it's a lot into it to learn, which is a full course of, I think, 60 hours of the course that I teach it at the Bioquantum Academy. But now I want to share just a couple of cases that I had with you, and these are two adolescents, and that how beautifully they got cured with my treatments. So I can go with the slideshows here from the current slides. Okay, so everybody sees my slides now? Okay.
Yes, Doc.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So these are just two. The very first case I want to discuss this, but I was the time of when they came to me and with the situation, the condition that they were in, it was very emotional. and homeopaths, because all doctors are, compassionate, and they're kind to the patients. But when you become homeopath, you are kind of absorbing all the emotions of the patients that they come to you. It's like you becoming one. And when I this suicidal case that I'm the very first one is my first suicidal case that came to me. That's why I'm sharing it with you. And I personally was very emotional with the parents. But so he came to me. The parents came to me first. He did not, and he was labeled as schizophrenic, and he was suicidal, and he committed as well. And I personally do not use any label for mental disorders such as schizophrenic or bipolarity. These are all wrong terminology for people. I just use alteration of mind. And the medical history, briefly, I can go over it, that he was 22 years old, male, and he was the only child of the family. And the way that they explained it, that he was doing well in high school, but until the first year of university. And they put him on antidepressant because, as usual, they go to their family physicians and they say, oh, you're depressed. And so gradually, they put him on more antidepressant. And the reason was that he lost focusing, he lost concentration at school, and he started having some insomnia, anxiety, and panic attacks. So, and was on a strong dose of allopathic antidepressant for almost 3 years. And by the time that he came to me, he was on psychiatric medications as well, which was very, very strong. So he continued the study until first semester of the second year in university, and he failed all his exams, and he quit his school. Actually, he had to drop the school, so he couldn't continue. So as I mentioned, this terrible terminology, which they're not my terminology, I don't use it, but because it just resonates with understanding that what it means, psychiatric conditions. So I just put it on my slides. He was labeled as schizophrenic by his psychiatrist. So he had no emotions. He didn't come to me in the beginning, but the parents explained to me that he has no emotions, he has no feelings, he's sleeping all day, he hasn't eaten enough. He locked himself up in the room. He committed suicide by overdosing medications, and he was hospitalized. As I remember, they said he was hospitalized for weeks. Then he was released. He completely lost interest in any form of activities. He was always inside. He lost all his friends, all his social network, and no desire to go out. And you know that when they come to this stage, and practically they reject everything and everybody. And he didn't have any practically relationship with the parents, was not talking to parents, was not cooperating with family to come to see an alternative, modalities. And family, they said that they were very tried to help him for the past 3 years, but family gave up on him. And he was scheduled to be to go to a psychiatric mental hospital in Canada, but he refused to go. And again, he locked himself up for days and resisting to everything and resisting to getting help, rejecting to come to see me as well. And he was severely drugged up, allopathic medications. He was so sleepy, drowsy, and unable to wake up. And they said that he's unable to speak and even to open up his eyes, how bad he was. So I offered to go to visit him to his place. My visit to go to see him was scheduled with the parents, but the very last minute, he decided to come to my office. What happened, I don't know. But it for me was amazing step. So he decided to come. And I took the initial consultation. As you know, the homeopathy case taking is very thorough to really understand what happened to this child prior to being labeled this disease. And I get all the information from his parents in order to understand the natural disease before suppression. So before he was completely drugged out because he couldn't talk. You know, his parents answering my question. I have no idea that he was aware of the parents' answers because he was so drowsy. He was just sleeping on his mother's shoulder entire time that it took almost 3.5 hours in my office. Was very idle, not moving at all, no eye contact. And looking, when I just, you know, a lot of my understanding about the patient is the observations as well. And I was observing this child, you know, very closely. He was completely, you know, to me, it was like a dead body. He was very anemic, very gray, yellowish skin, and super dehydrated and withered. And the usual question was about his life and conditions prior to this sickness and prior to go to this heavy psychiatric medications. So they said he was fine until the first year of university. He used to eat, he used to drink, used to go to the gym regularly, but he was on oral steroids for bodybuilding for a few months prior to go to university. These are all the information that I got from his parents. There is nothing else they could give me in order to find his constitutional picture. In this case, the constitutional picture was lost. You know, the picture of the natural disease was completely lost. The picture of the person was not clear. So in this case, I could not proceed with constitutional medicine. Normally, when the disease is not suppressed with heavy medications or any form of suppression, or suppression is not only medication, could be abuse, could be relational abuse, could be oppression, could be enforcement, could be so many other aspects that cause suppression in people. So when the natural disease is not suppressed, the picture of the person is clear. So no matter in physical disease or mental disease, I'm able to find the simillimum that to treat the person, not the disease. Therefore, I go with the constitutional medicine, and in addition, I do keynote, medicine as well. Then I go to pathway medicine, which mostly is homotoxicology, and also in addition to my integral approach. This is something that I do for almost everybody who has a clear picture of the disease. But in suppressed cases that have been on psychiatric medications, I designed treatment protocols in different order. So until I get clear picture of the disease. So the very first thing that I ask the parents or caretakers that for treating the mental disorders, if they want to continue with me, they have to bring a calming and supporting environment to their homes, to their surroundings, and no reprimand, no reproach, no arguing, no external disturbances to the senses and emotions, no do or don't list, no scheduled programs, no enforcement, cruelty, only focusing on my homeopathic treatments. It's something that Dr. Samuel Hahnemann was telling to all his mental disorders as well, and I am his follower. And if the parents said yes, then I continue. If they say no, we are overwhelmed, we cannot do this, I said, then I cannot help you. I'm so sorry. But definitely all parents want to save their children, and they did. So this is the aphorism 2028 of the organ and of the medical art by Dr. Hahnemann. So the case one, as I mentioned earlier, the constitution of this, the picture of this 22 years old was lost to me. But when the natural disease is suppressed, still we have approach, and the picture of the person is lost, no matter in physical or mental. As I said, I'm not able to find simillimum in the time being in the beginning, but I start with keynote medicine. I think I mentioned that earlier with Dr. Nario, that sometimes we have to start with detoxifications. We have no choice, and it's the best approach. And no matter with the single medicine or no matter with the homotoxicology. But again, even in detoxification or keynote, you got to find the closest medicine to the picture of the patient. So the picture of the patient to me was overwhelming intoxicated. So, and I started with keynote medicine, then pathways medicine. Then when I opened up the case, then I could see the picture of the patient and disease. Then I gave him constitutional medicine and with my integral approach. The very first thing I gave was Nox vomica. Nox vomica 200 CH. I think all the homeopaths know about Nox vomica. It's a life-saving medicine, especially in this kind of cases that they are super toxicated for such a long time. So I gave him a Nox vomica 200 CH for 2 times a day for the first 3 days, then once a day for 4 days, total for 7 days. I'm not a homeopath that they all go more than 7 to 10 days. I rarely have, I put patients in like more than 10 days, but especially when I go with a high potency of 200 CH, I don't go more than 7 days. So I did not give anything to this case because I have to very carefully watch to see how the case is unfolding. I said for 7 days, don't take anything and do not do anything else until see what this is going to do. Then I started the second protocol. Second protocol, I started with homotoxicology. As I said, at this time, I did not have the simillimum yet. I did not have the constitutional medicine yet, but I started with detoxification. I never ever do detoxification without mineralizations because the people who are toxicated, they are demineralized for such a long time, especially the ones that they are on allopathic medications, and they are demineralized because of chelation. The chelation is doing it on every single moment. So that's why when they come to me with the super toxications, I shower them by mineral with the tissue salts and oligotherapy. So I gave him a preparation which was including a phosphorus. They're all in D form. D form is decimal. Is dilution is 1 to 10. 1 to 10 is the lowest dilution I give for detoxification. I never go to centesimal. I do not go with to CH, and I do not go to M or Q. Never go with the high potency for detoxification. I stay at the D level. So the phosphorus, arsenicum album, lycopodium, sepia, anacardium, gelsemium, calcium phosphoricum, and belladonna. These are the very compatible medicine that you can put them together and give to the patient for cerebral brain detoxifications. Because the brain, in this toxicated case, the brain-blood barrier was broken. So at this point, the toxins is pouring into his brain, and I have to cleanse out all the pathways of the brain to really bring the person to talk, because every single pathway was blocked. So, and as I mentioned earlier, also give him tissue salts. The tissue salts, calciphosphoricum, calcareophosphoricum, firmphosphoricum, natron phosphoricum, and magnesium phosphoricum. All these tissue salts that they combine with phosphorus, they are brain tonics. They are amazing minerals for the brain, especially when you're doing the detoxification. So the second protocol was detoxification and mineralization was liver hepatic detoxification. I would explain to you that in mental disorders or mind, alteration or whatever, I do not work on brain. I do work on detoxification of pathways, but like any other pathways in the brain, I do detoxification. There are almost 7 different pathways that I do detoxifications. So this, the most important one actually is the liver hepatic detoxifications, because the liver is in charge of removing all the toxins before it's getting into the bloodstream and goes to the brain-blood barrier. So liver hepatic detoxification is one of the major pathways that I work on. Again, the preparation was having Nux vomica, Lycopodium, calabatum, colocynthis, colostrinum, and chelidonium, cardus marianus, and china. These are amazing, wonderful liver drainage homeopathic medicine. And when you, in a D form, when you mix them in a preparation, they're enhancing each other's activities and they do much, much closer and faster. So, and also I give them tissue salts, natrum sulfuricum. Natrum sulfuricum, it's a wonderful liver drainage in a form of minerals. So anytime that I give detoxification, protocols, I always add minerals to the protocols. So in important tips that I mentioned earlier, detoxification, never do detoxification without mineralization, because people who come to me in these conditions are they are very, very deeply intoxicated at the cellular level, and demineralization is a very culprit. People are in danger when they are demineralized, because as I always say, 92% of diseases that they call it, or imbalances in the body, it's because of this mineral deficiencies. So at this point, do not do detoxification without mineralization, because detoxification itself is going to have a huge toll on the body, because it needs a lot of minerals in order to do the process of detoxification. So if you don't do mineralization during detoxification, you can break something majorly down. And that's why I always teach it. All my scholars who are graduating, they know the method of my detoxifications, that how important it is to do the mineralizations, which I do in a domain of homeopathy with homeopathic tissue salts and oligotherapy. So the third protocol, so I always give 7 days break between each protocol. I would just give the body time in order to understand what's going on, to just settle and come back gradually. I'm not going to put the person on homeopathic medicine continuously. I always put them on break. So another 7 break after the second protocol. So that's how it's a time to retake the case. Because as a classical homeopath, my work, my job is to find the constitutional medicine for the person. So I have to wait until to see that the case is unfolding. I have to wait until patiently to see when the patient is ready to tell me who the person is. So I retook his case at this time, and he personally answered my questions. After the detoxification of the liver hepatic and detoxification of brain-brain pathways, he answered my questions. And he explained his condition briefly. Generally, he was not a talkative person naturally, but I saw the power of detoxification this time. So he had eye contact with me, and when I asked questions, and he just looked at me and he answered my question, but very briefly. He was listening, but he kept telling me that he wants to go home. He's very tired, and he was looking tired. But I saw him that he's answering, he's having eye contact, and it was a bingo for me. And what he explained about himself, his narrative about himself and condition, was very similar to what his parents shared in the beginning with me. So at this time, I completely stopped pathways medicine. So it did the job, and then I stopped. So as I said, 7 days break for me was good to now start going on the third protocol. With the questions that he answered to me, so I could find his constitutional medicine. He was Argentum nitricum. And Argentum nitricum, and I was not having much doubt about Argentum nitricum, but since his answering was not complete to me, and I said, let's do this and see how it works. But like 98%, I was confident about it. So in cases, psychiatric cases, or any mental disorders, I always go with high potency. Never go with low potency, because low potency at the particle level works on the physical and somatic levels, but it's not going to work at the mental level, which have frequency is much higher. So at this point, we have to create an artificial disease similar to the mental disease that he was presenting with the high frequency. So mental disorders has much higher frequency. You gotta go much higher, not like somatic body, like to stay with the 6 CH or 12 CH or 30 CH. It's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work. So I was very gentle with this person that I went to 1M. 1M is like 1,000, but I was personally, if I wanted to go to 10M or 50M, but 1M just worked beautifully. So again, I asked him to have it once a day for 7 days, but I gave concomitant remedies, which I do all the time with the mental conditions. I give concomitant remedies such as Kalium phosphoricum, but again, high potency, 200 CH. Like Kalium phosphoricum, when it's, for example, for insomnia or for kind of little, very light depression or anxiety, I go lower potency. But with this condition, I went highest, which is 200 CH for Califos. So, and I also give him keynote remedy. The keynote remedy is very important in mental disorders, that especially school age students. The picric acid, I think homeopaths know that especially students that they are in an intellectual collapse. They're studying so hard, and all of a sudden they collapse. And it's not just a tiredness, it's an intellectual collapse. Picric acid is an amazing medicine that you can give to the student that they have intellectual collapse. So at this point, I give these 3 remedies to him. I ask him to take Kalium phosphoricum in the morning and picric acid in the evening, and Argentine nitricum 1M for 7 days. So important is the tips, as I mentioned. No homeopathic remedies should be taken after 7 p.m. So homeopathic medicine are energized medicine, and it's just trying to dig into the entire body in order to find, toxin and all the problem of the, imbalances and everything. So after 7, especially in mental disorders, after 7, the body has to go in a calm state, and no digging and no stimulations, no activations, only drinking water, and no homeopathic medicine after 7. So the 4th protocol is the time that I start my integral approach, which I teach it in my school. All my scholars know about my approach. And the 4th protocol was the gemotherapy and oligotherapy. Again, gemotherapy is in the domain of homeopathy, is prepared according to homeopathy principles. And it's an amazing system of medicine. I love it dearly, and I would never go without it. So, but again, gemotherapy is a super drainage system of medicine that works at the cellular level. And again, it needs mineralization. At this time, with gemotherapy, I do trace elements or oligotherapy. So what I gave the gemotherapy was Tilia tomentosa, Ficus furica for nervous system drainage, Alnus glutinosa for brain function. These are something that I personally take them. Is not only for mental things. So time to time, you need to take it in order to cleanse out all the nervous system cells at the cellular level. And Quercus ruber, which is the male cellular support. So this is something that I will never go without it in especially male patients. So I gave him 2 times a day, morning and evening, for 6 weeks, and also oligotherapy. I started with him the lithium. Lithium is not the allopathic lithium. It comes from the red beet, and for the nervous system calmer. It's something that almost I give it to all school students that they have nervous system breakdown. And so I gave him zinc as well. I gave him selenium, and I gave him copper zinc as well. These are all have natural sources, such as zinc from cress, selenium from garlic, and copper zinc from mushroom. So these are all coming in a form of oligo or trace minerals. I also put him on a very high dose of B1, B3, and B complex for 3 weeks. And as you know, B3 is one of the vitamin B complex that is working to make serotonin and dopamine. And also, I put them on organotherapy, the Sarcode medicine, homeopathic Sarcode medicine. I highly recommend this, system of medicine to all doctors who want to really become homeopath. Organotherapy is life-saving, and I gave him the male organotherapy, which is a Sarcode preparation that comes from adrenal glands, from pituitary gland, from thymus, thyroid glands, pancreas, and testes. These are amazing, supportive, stimulating, activating, and supporting glandular homeopathic medicine for adolescents. So I gave him 3 times a day, 10 drops each time for 3 consecutive weeks. And then the 5th protocol I did the assessment. He responded extremely well. Imagine a 22 years old that came in suicidal states. And it's just short period of time. He responded extremely well. Again, I put him on 7 days break, but I started the brain tonic preparation this time, because now it's a time that to work with, give support to the body now. The detoxification, balancing, alignment, and bringing the body into homeostasis is done. Now we need, we need to give them support and nourishing. So the brain tonic preparation is homeopathic brain tonic. It's from Zincum metallicum, Ignatia amara, Coccolis, Acidum phosphoricum, and Sepia. So this mix, I use it a lot in school children for as a tonic. No matter, not necessarily they have mental problems or mind alteration or whatever. I just give it as a brain tonic. So my children also have been on it, and myself been on it for the past 25 years, time to time. This is something amazing to bring balance and harmony to the brain as well. And I never forget tissue salts, the caliphos, and also the 5-phosphorus, as I mentioned in the briefly in the previous slides. He was very anemic, very, very anemic, and I started giving him tissue salts for anemia, which is calcaria phosphorica, ferrum phosphoricum, kalium phosphoricum, and also natrum muriaticum. These 4 medicines are amazing for anemia, especially for young children and adolescents. And I asked them to continue for 6 weeks. So during this time, I said, do not stop chemotherapy and do not stop oligotherapy. Just go whatever left until you finish them. So the 6th protocol, I started doing the blood-brain oxygenations for anemia. He was severely anemic, and even the test result was the hemoglobin, so that was down the drain. So in addition to the tissue salts for anemia, I give him homeopathic blood oxygenation preparation that comes from DNA and RNA, Zincum metallicum, Focus vesiculosus, and amygdala. So he, as I mentioned earlier, he was using some steroids for bodybuilding, and he was athletic for a while. I think from the time that he was a teenager, and that's why I chose this homeopathic blood oxygenations for him. And not only is doing it's helping so much for oxygenation, also it's the ill effect of steroid would be removed also. Most of the athletes who come to me for that they are on a steroid, that's the medicine I give them for the steroid replacement. It's an amazing medicine for proper transportation and utilization of oxygen, oxygenation to the muscles and nervous system, reduce stiffness and comfort during exercise, poor cellular metabolism in some cases, weakness, fatigue, poor recovery, muscle weakness, cellular respiration, poor oxygen supplies to the brain. So this is something that I said, you got to be on it until I tell you to stop. So just to give you some clue about the DNA and RNA, these are DNA and RNA are derived from yeast sources. They're natural sources. They're not like COVID vaccine or something. These are yeast sources, food. They're coming from food. They're amazing for cellular regeneration, immune system enhancement, and improved protein metabolism. And this preparation works as, according to the Arnschall's law, encourages and stimulates cellular respiration, metabolism, and oxygenation. It's an amazing medicine for especially athletes and also for anemic people, anemic that they have anemia for a long time. It has DNA and RNA. It has amygdala, which supplies B17 for intracellular oxygen utilization and for growth and development. And it has focus, which organically bound iodine sources, and it's wonderful for enhanced thyroid functions, and also zincum metallicum for enzymatic actions, energy production, cellular detoxification, and immune system function. So also the diet and nutrition is part of it. I always, my recommendation for the past 30 years to go on your blood type. He was blood type O. And I asked them what to do and what to eat, what to avoid. I cannot explain it now because it takes hours to speak. But as my scholars know that I always teach it in my courses, that how you can combine the blood type O with other diet and nutrition in order to recover much faster. So these are the no fast food, no fried food, not too much carbs or sweet, because we want to bring the body at ease. Too much of sweet, too much of carbs, insulin is surging always, and the body is always hyper. So no inflammatory foods such as nightshades foods that causes, allergy in some cases, and they are histamine, producing foods. So these are the suggestions that I always get, but not that fast. It takes me hours to explain it to them, and also go with more lean organic proteins and fresh vegetables and fruits, as all of you know. But the green vegetable juice on daily basis, the same as lemon water that I mentioned during previously. So these are something that I recommended to almost everybody. I can say astonishing recovery. Completely recovered. He completely recovered in less than 8 months. Gradually, I got him off all the homeopathic medicine and all that, chemotherapy and everything. He went back to school, to university the next semester. He eagerly finished his major program, and he sent me an appreciation postcard and a gift. A few years after of his recovery, so his parents, they were just speechless about, they got their son back, and they came to me with a postcard and a gift. I cannot mention their names here because the parents didn't want to. But a few years after his full recovery, he came to my office and he called me and he said, "Do you remember me, doctor?" I said, "How can I not?" He said, "I want to come to discuss something with you." And he visited me to consult about his acute seasonal allergy. He developed a little bit of allergy, which I gave him, allergy homeopathic medicine, and also gave him a protocol of homeopathic immunizations. When he came to me, he looked very healthy and robust, and I was expecting it, because if I cannot do it, I do not take the case. The only thing that I have to make sure that the parents are going and following whatever I ask. So they were very cooperative with me, and that's how they got their sons back. So homeopathy does wonder. when it's selected correctly, applied correctly, and continued precisely. So, I put him on a maintenance of diet and a little bit of, here and there for support for 12 months, because that's how I do it until I know that the problem is not coming back. So he had a full recovery and is back to life. And what I heard that he got married as well. The second one is 18 years old, severe depression and suicidal state. This was the most emotional case that I've ever had, that an 18 years old with drug addiction of cocaine since he was 11 years old. So if the parents knew at that age, they did not include them. But he told me that he had cocaine from 11 years old. When I asked him, where did you get it? He said he got it from friends at a school. But because of he developed all those, suicidal, attempts and everything, they took him to the psychiatrist and they put him on antidepressant and psychiatric medications. So, and when he came to me, he was taking the psychiatric medication 2 times a day in addition to cocaine. I asked him, he said, I don't want my parents to know that I'm still taking it, but I'm still taking it. So he attempted several times. He was hanging himself in once that he was cut off. He was cut by one of his friends, I guess. And once he was saved, the very last time he was saved by his family members. And he was very delusional. He completely lost reality. He didn't know exactly what happened. When I asked him questions, he could not respond to my questions. He was constantly watched with his family and friends for the past 3 years. That's very, very emotional, very difficult for the parents. And the mother was, I'm a mother. When the mother was talking and crying and, in that state, I said, she asked me, Dr. Zarin, you're my last hope. Can you help my son? I just looked at her eyes. I said, I promise you, I would, but just follow me. If you follow me, follow what I recommend, yes, I can. But if don't, fortunately, take your son. And she promised. The father did not come. And the father actually was working in another province, and he couldn't come. And to this moment, I haven't seen the father. Anyways, he had to go to school. He was just kind of expelled from school, and the same thing. He lost all the interest towards anybody, towards parents, towards friends. But he keep talking about his girlfriend. He said, "I have a girlfriend," and I said, "When did you have this girlfriend?" He said, "When I was 11 years old." I said, "Okay, the time that you were on cocaine, right?" And he did not answer. To this point, I still the answers to that question. But she rejected him to see him because of the family disputes and everything. He was on severe drug consumption from early age, and as I said, he was taking antidepressant from early age on the top of cocaine powder. With my case taking, he was super hypoglycemic. His sugar was down the drain. He was having chronic anemia. He was hallucinating. He was a very challenging case to do with homeopathic, approach. It's not that I promised his mother. I wanted to do that. But during the time that we started, he kept quitting. He kept saying, I'm not taking medicine. I'm not taking homeopathic medicine. I stopped homeopathic treatments for several weeks. I was constantly. I was in contact with with his mother. And and then I said I want to talk to him over the phone, and he took the phone and he wanted to talk to me just by myself. He didn't want the parents to hear. And I said, just come back. I want to talk to you. So, anyways, he came back. It was like a back and forth kind of conversation until, because a homeopath is not in a position to convince anybody. And we are not the judge. We are just a practitioner, which we're trying to help. But the only thing I said, when you come to me, I try to not to enclose whatever you're telling me to your parents. So again, aphorism 228, organ of medical art is something that I ask the parents to do, that complete calming and supporting environment. And I talked to him and I said, listen, here is a teamwork. We have to work as a team. And your parents also is in the team. But when I talk about the calming and supporting environment, he just jumped in and he said, but that house is not a calming and supporting environment. And then again, goes on and on that I had to kind of back and forth with the parents to try to make the environment like the way that homeopathic medicine can work. Otherwise, it will stop. So the initial consultation, again, his mother is answering my questions, but the son, the patient, kept asking the mother that you're lying. So at this point, I was not a judge to know who is lying, who is telling me the truth. The main thing is that to observe the patient. So he was completely opposing all his mother's answers. But when I asked him, okay, can you explain it to me? He had no explanation. It was a very challenging case. And hard to know which one is telling the truth. But the truth of matter was the patient was practically gone. It was not in a reality. And with my observations, I could help myself to solve the case. So again, the picture of the patients and the disease was not clear. Again, I started with Nox vomica. And I gave him Nox vomica 200, the same as the previous. That the reason that I chose these two cases, they're very similar to choose, not to jump to, because I had a lot of different cases that they're completely different, and I had to go with homeopathic drug families, such as opium, such as, different medicine. But these two were very similar. But the thing with the observations and with understanding of the case and with the questions that were answered by his mother, and I had, as I said, I had the communication with his mother as well. I said, okay, which one is the truth? And she said she's telling the truth. I said, okay, I'm relying on your answers, and then I can find his constitutional medicine. His constitutional medicine actually was phosphorus. And according to my observations and also the answers, I gave him phosphorus, 200 CH for 7 days, and again I gave him concomitant remedy, acidum phosphoricum. But I did not see intellectual collapse in him to give him picric acid, so I just gave him this medicine and also tissue salts, which I don't let the patient goes without tissue salts. So at this point, I think I gave him tissue salts and also oligotherapy lithium. I start lithium right away because of the a lot of hallucinations that he had. I started homotoxicology, the pathways detoxification medicine. Again, cerebral brain detoxification medicine due to long-term drug addictions and antidepressants. It's the same preparations for my previous patients as well. And also it's, but in addition, I gave him the cerebral balancing and harmony preparation as well. This is different. This one, I did not give it to my first patient. This one is a different preparation that it's mostly for cerebral balancing because he has a lot of delusions and hallucinations. I gave him Ignatia Amara, caliphosphoricum, and zinco metallicum. And again, in addition to all the 5-phosphorus tissue salts. So the same thing with the other patients, that the liver hepatic detoxification is a major one. If you don't cleanse this pathways, there is no way we can solve the case. So the allopathic drugs are the most toxications that you can put it, especially in young age, such as this 18 years old. And the preparation was Nox vomica, lycopodium, colocentis, and clostridium, chelidonium, cardus marianus at China. And again, I gave a natrum sulfuricum, which is the amazing liver drainage tissue salts. So I think I explained to you prior that because of demineralizations, you have to shower the patients with minerals during detoxification. And I gave the same gemotherapy for deep cellular drainage and also oligotherapy for mineralizations, the same as the other patients. The same, I gave them Sarcot medicine for glandular stimulation, activations, and support, and also B complexes. So in addition, this, as I said, because of hallucination and delusion, I gave him another preparation with zinco metallicum, ignatia, and all those. And but the rest are almost the same. Because he was in a hypoglycemic state, it's very severe. He was fatigue, inability to concentrate, depression, and all those that you can find it in a hypoglycemic. I prepared a hypoglycemia preparation, homeopathy, which includes hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenalinum, insulin, Nox vomica, Oenthera, Hepar, Arsenicum album, and Sacrum officinale. These are mixed together. A combination of this is an amazing preparation for hypoglycemia and for this patient. And also I gave him the preparation, homeopathic preparation for oxygenation as well, which I gave to the previous patients. So there are some I gave to both. There are some that I did not. So it's according to the case. Food and nutrition is the same thing. The blood type, this person also was blood type O. It was almost the same thing. And I asked them to go and get the book or just Google it online and stay on blood type O. And the same thing with the others. But what I gave these patients is royal jelly I gave him in addition to B complexes. And also because he was severely anemic, I just one period of colloidal iron I gave him. And also I gave him collagen forte because he was very deficient in amino acids as well. I asked his mother to every day, because of he was on drugs and also psychiatric medication. I said, you got to help the detoxification faster, otherwise it's going to take so long. So just try to give him fresh green vegetable juice with lemon in the morning until 12, and during the day, as long as he can drink it. So she did it, I think, for a few weeks, but she said it's very exhausting, it's very time consuming. Then I replaced it with organic fetal green powder, which I found it in Genestro line, and I sent it to them. Actually, I personally sent it to them. So I replaced it with that. So this is it's amazing. There are almost, I don't know, 90 different green vegetables and herbs in it that is working amazingly for this kind of detoxification. So amazing result and full recovery of something that I was not suspicious about, that he's going to recovers one day, but I was surprised that he recovered so fast because he was young. He was so young, and also I have a kind of attack for homeopathic protocols, and almost everybody in the family cooperated with me and the patient also cooperated, and great improvement in 3 months. But again, all homeopathy, my homeopathy treatments, no matter they recover, they have to maintain it for 12 months. So in the meantime, between 3 months, great improvement until 12 months, he had regular follow-up consultations with me. And after that, he came to me, I said, doctor, I registered to go back to school. I said, yes, that's the time. So he went back to school after 1 year, finished his high school, because he was grade 11 when he dropped out of school. Then he admitted to a college in business major and graduated with good grades, started working, back to his social life, and started martial art training. His family was so thrilled, so happy. And then they sent me an emotional testimonial from his mother, but his father did not agree to share it with the public, which I agree. And his mother sent me a long emotional prayer, and he posted it on Facebook. So, and I still have a screenshot of her prayers on the Facebook with my name on it, and just gave me life as well. It's an amazing feeling to help a young man getting his life back, and proud homeopathy and homeopath. So, and when I say homeopathy is life-saving, believe me, it does. Healing is an art and natural ability. Healing occurs when you follow the laws and healing principles that nature endowed in all living beings, including human body. Deviation from and violation of these natural laws is equal to permanent physical and mental sickness and early death. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope that I did not go over time. And Bioquantum Academy is honored to have this educational platform to bring it to all these young people who almost lost their lives. And this is the mission of all homeopaths and all natural medicine practitioners, to do something, to commit to your mission and save lives. And thank you so much. If you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Parvin, for the impressive and professional presentation. Thank you so much. Actually, yes, I have a question about the case 2. What happened with the addiction to cocaine?
What happened to addiction to the
cocaine? And after the treatment and after backing to the life, to social life, and what happened with that? Did that stop or not?
Yeah, the cocaine that he was actually, but by the time they came to me, he said he had it 2 times a day. And during the several weeks, he was quitting, like homeopathy. He was not following homeopathy treatments, kind of back and forth. He was still on it. He told his mother not, but definitely with my questions, I knew that he was on it. At the time that he came back, and I put him on a thorough detoxifications. And once that I called him, he said, it's been 3 days that I did not use it. And so I said, just continue. He said, but in these cases, you cannot tell them go off. There is no way. The body gonna go off. The body, when the addiction is a toxication. You always crave for something that your body is addicted. Right? The same as coffee, the same as,
yes,
different kind. That the body is addicted. When you're trying to, with the right approach, you're detoxing the body, and also you unloading the body from the toxins, the body doesn't ask for it. So I never ask my patients who are on addiction, because there were several. I never ask them to go off, because never, but the body is going to reject it. So, and then he came to me after like a couple of weeks, and he said, I haven't been on the cocaine for 2 weeks. I said, okay, that's how it's supposed to be. So to your the answer to your questions, the body is rejecting it when you go on a right process of detoxification. So in just less than I think it's just less than 2 weeks, he completely went off. And by the time that 1 year he was my patient, right? He didn't touch it. And then actually after 3 months, when it was such a great improvement, still lots to do still after 3 months, but the improvement was fascinating. He started going to the same school and having a speech against cocaine. He was the advocate. He was the advocate of like he was running a little campaign against drugs. And then he came to me and said, "Doctor, I want all my friends come to you." I said, "Now you become a homeopath. You do it."
Awesome.
A couple of friends came to me, and but the rest, I think he took the initiative to kind of become a voice for this problem. So and actually I was going to their province to teach, and their parents were my students practically, and so I was going to their province to teach, and I taught them how to do it, and I said, "This is your mission now, to go and save the other children." So
Yes.
save them. And
Perfect. Thank you so much.
thank you.
I enjoyed the case. Any question, everybody?
The hard work was mine. The hard work was mine, and but nothing is more rewarding, nothing is more enjoyable than you see the young children going back, getting their lives back and going to going back to their social life, to their educational life, to their family, and the mothers. Honestly, she didn't leave me. She didn't leave me. She always said, anytime that she was going to her prayers, she said, "You are my prayer. You are my prayer." I said, I think I'm doing well because of everybody's prayers. So, and that's the story of being a homeopath, and
Yeah.
and
Actually, I enjoy hearing this case, and I know your happiness is so much to cure them and seeing and watching the improvement.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Nothing can replace this joy to see, especially when you see that you're successful. And those cases that I'm telling you, they're super successful now. And imagine one of them was, they were killing it, taking their lives, because of wrong living style, wrong approach, wrong environment, and super toxications. That's why Dr. Juan, Dr. Erica, Dr. Metz, Dr. Ehsan, Dr. Jimmy, they're familiar with my teaching, that these are, that I always teach. You can save lives. It's very simple. It's not a hard thing to do. The body has the ability to overcome anything. Just bring it into alignment, just bring it into homeostasis. Just clean the body, support the body, nutrify the body, doing it on its own. So it's been, the second case has been like years. He just came to me once that he wants to gain a little bit weight. I said, okay, I want to give some pounds to you. I have some extra pounds, I'll give it to you. So, I said, can I go on a protein shake? I said, no, go on protein food. Don't go with shake. So, I mean, no major problem since now. and healthy lifestyle. And he started actually cooking. The second one, he said he started cooking, and he just followed and he asked me for recipe. I
Oh,
said, sorry,
homeopathic recipe.
just don't ask me for recipe because I'm a very simple person. I don't put things together. I just eat one thing, and I just eat once a day. don't ask for recipe. But anyway, so I help them. I help them to how to put things together in a healthy way.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and please let me again say thanks to all for wonderful discussion sessions, and we've covered a lot of ground in today's conference. And I want to thank our speakers for sharing their time, expertise, and research. Thank you also to our audience for your participation. And now it's time for panel discussion. Everybody, if you have any question, feel free to ask, please.
Now it's panel discussion. If you have any questions, anything,
No, there's one thing I'd like to say actually is Dr. Pareen, having the experience of helping others is a gift. It's an extreme gift. And in my decades of practice, I relate to your experiences and myself practicing natural medicine and in the natural healing arts and stimulating the body on heal itself. Yes, people have come from all walks of life, and at the unfortunate part is that they come to us as the last straw. That's the unfortunate part. And I am positive that young gentleman that took his life away, if he would have come to you in the right timing before it was way too advanced, that he would have still been here. I'm convinced. Unfortunately, that happened to me as well. Have one young gentleman came, did not follow what my suggestions were, and suffered for 2 years, coming back and forth, and unfortunately, he took his life away. But it was we can't step over free will. That's one thing, we can't step over free will, and that's what I've learned from that experience. We can't force them, as you said. You can't impose yourself and your modalities on people. You have to have a cooperation. Otherwise, there's nothing that anybody can do. But this was actually an overall, if I have to say, this day was a very interesting day. I enjoyed it very much so. From the beginning, the opening, the very important communications and informations that we've had from all the scholars, I'm blown away. I so want a massage, a facial massage.
Dr. Diaz,
Yes, Dr. Diaz, I want a facial massage. If you were here, I would have already booked your.
We need it. We need it.
We need it. We need it. So yes, and yeah, I'm blown away of all the knowledge that has been put on the table, and it confirms that we are all on the right path, and it confirms also that we are born healers, and as I said, I have no words to describe the honor and the extreme privilege that it is to be part of this conference. Thank you so much, Dr. Pareen, and to BioQuantum Academy to offer this opportunity to everyone that was part of this conference.
Thank you, Dr. Maria Gracia, and I'm honored to have you part of the conference, and more to come. So this kind of platform is for bringing awareness. We have become a voice, and we want to share it with everybody. We were wishing to having more people, but I think different part of the world, they had so much problem with Wi-Fi, with network, like in Iran, that they had some explosions or something, but again, this is recorded and you can, whoever missed it, they can watch it. But I mean, Bioquantum Academy is committed to move forward, to move this campaign, health and healing campaign, with amazing faculties, and Dr. Faisal, Dr. Clearfield, and soon Dr. Farbod, Dr. Maria, Dr. Kumar. We are moving the platform forward, and I appreciate my scholars. I love them all, and I miss them all. And Dr. Wan, Dr. Erica, Dr. Diaz, Dr. Jimmy, Dr. Issei, Dr. Ehsan, Dr. Yusuf, all of you. And so amazing that they patiently handled it, because for me, it was amazing the way that they handled it, because they're coming from all different backgrounds and coming to whole new perspective. But one thing I promised them, I said, I'm not going to put you in the ocean before you know how to swim. The way they did it to us. It was decades ago. They just threw us in the ocean in natural medicine and just go and, bring yourself into safety. No, I don't do that. I just prepare all my scholars step by step until they're ready. And look at them, the way that they present. You should read their articles. This is just the keynote that they presented. The articles is fascinating. And they're all medical doctors. And imagine we are on the right track, Dr. Maria. We are on the right path. And thanks to all of you who have been beside me, who have been working with me shoulder to shoulder. And any suggestion, any ideas you have to make it better, please just do that. And Bioquantum Academy is open to any ideas from scholars, from faculties, from anybody. And just come forward. So
actually, yeah, I have a question about how students can start the homeopathy pathway in the Bioquantum Academy.
Just come to homeopathy department and we walk you through. We hold your hands step by step. we walk you through. When you come to the homeopathy department, or any department, even the Department of Integrative Medicine and Biocosmetology, you can ask Dr. Wan and the others that they were eager to come to the class. So they like to know more. They like to, that kind of, for them, it was fascinating, new perspective that was very attractive. So the same thing with homeopathic department. When you come, you don't want to leave. Dr. Faisal said, give Dr. Farbot to me for half an hour, then I'm going to convince him to come to classical homeopathy.
Yes, so doctor, when are you going to talk to me?
Dr. Farbot that's why I'm delaying with Dr. Farbot a little. Because she should be a homeopath. She should be
I just wanted to tell a few things, Dr. Zareen and the entire team. Thank you so much for organizing this. You won't believe it, but this time I listened to everybody's presentation. Yesterday, I couldn't do everybody's presentation because I was busy with the clinic. I had few patients. But today I listened to everybody's presentation and you're doing a wonderful job. All your scholars, they really did very well. And, the way they are bringing some substance to the medical world, it's really astonishing. And I hope they can do good justice and they can practice some homeopathic skills in their country, at least in the form of oligotherapy or homeotoxicology, something.
Yeah.
So at least at least now I know that they know what homeopathy can do. It's not just homeopathy, but there are many other concepts they came up with, aromatherapy and use of just simple lemons, and how they can help you remodel your body, detoxify your body. So I think everybody has done a wonderful job. Everybody worked hard, and Dr. Zareen, you are putting a lot of efforts in bringing a change in the medical world as such. So thank you so much. And I was so motivated today. I just messaged you later on. You can check your message.
Yeah, you
and,
did.
and yeah, we will discuss about this later on. So thank you so much. And even Dr. Mahbube, you really did a great job in hosting and being a moderator of this event. Even Dr. Maria, thank you so much. And I think everybody did a wonderful job. It was really everybody's hard work. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Faisal, for being part of us. And yes, Quantum Academy made a promise. In 2020, I personally made a promise to transform the healthcare system. How did I come with it? Because of my cases. I have thousands of cases that they recovered beautifully. And I said, this has to come out somehow. Then I started to do something that the COVID show, hit the world, and everything went on pause and hold. But I never broke my promise. Dr. Faisal knows me, right? I never break my promise. And I said, I have to do it. And now we are keeping our promise together. And imagine, group of medical doctors are joining us around the world. And this is something that was my vision. And now the mission is going on. And but definitely I need you guys, all of us, to work together and make a stronger voice. And Dr. Faisal, definitely, you're on
Yeah,
a
definitely, Dr. Zareen. Like,
Yes.
I've been practicing homeopathy for more than now almost 15 years now, and I just use single remedies, and then I use some intercurrent remedies. And I've been doing this. In India, I used to see at least 30 to 40 patients in a day because we have a huge population. And I've just used homeopathy, and it has helped the patients so much. So many patients have benefited. But today, after listening a bit to the concepts of oligotherapy, homeotoxicology, if they are also integrated into the mainstream constitutional prescriptions, they can help the patients a bit faster. This is what I believe, because few cases when we are just giving constitutional treatment, it takes a bit of time. If you remember the cases that I showed you, that were autoimmune diseases, it took almost 2 years for them to develop normal skin pattern. For example, vitiligo. I don't know, maybe if we try homeotoxicology concepts in maybe before 2 years, we would have a better result. So I don't know, I will try something and see if it can hasten and it can fasten the treatment process as such. So yeah, it is actually a beautiful concept. And at least when we are giving it in low doses, they're not going to cause any kind of homeopathic suppression as such, and it's going to be a good way, that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why we have medical homeopathy and we have classical homeopathy. So
Yeah.
the time that Dr. Heyman developed homeopathic medicine, which I think there was 200 something, right? Like Germany was not industrialized, it was not industrialized, right? That all the homeopathic medicine, single medicine, they were working beautifully. But when Europe started to become industrialized, toxications became thousandfold. At that time, Dr. Hahnemann was not around anymore. So the homeopathic medicine needed a jump to come to face this industrialization with the super toxication. So it was the birth of homotoxicology. The birth of homotoxicology does not deviate from the principles of homeopathy. It's just it's like the evolution of the homeopathic science. It comes to face and to kind of solution for industrialized world. So that's why Hahnemannian homeopathic medicine does the job, but it needs something else for this, world we are living, which is homotoxicology. So that's why I had not even one patient, maybe you can't believe it, but trust me, not even one patient failure. I never had that. That if the patient left because of the reasons, like financial reasons or time consuming or whatever, or they couldn't follow, that's a different case. But the ones that stayed with me, not even one failure. I think it's the combination of both the classical and the medical homeopathy. So both together, because I don't go without them. There is no case that I go without classical. There is no case that I go without homotoxicology. So everybody says, what's the secret? I said, there is no secret. It's just, but it needed a lot of training. So for the past 20 some years, I trained, I went through so much different trainings to master it. You have to master something, in order to be able to give it to somebody else. And so the combination of, that's a question Dr. Farbod also asked yesterday, what's the difference between these two departments? These two departments are not different. They both are homeopathy, but they are complementing each other.
Mm-hmm.
But they are classical homeopaths, such as Dr. Faisal, for example, wants to learn, if he wants to learn homotoxicology, it doesn't need to come to classical homeopathy to go from A to Z. It comes to the medical homeopathy and just learn homotoxicology. So that's a difference. Like Dr. Metz, I think he's gone now. He just got courses from medical homeopathy in addition to his, program that he finished. And this was something that, and medical homeopathy is compatible to almost every single practice. If you're a holistic nutritionist, if you're allopath, if you're natural medicine product, whatever, you're a naturopath, medical homeopathy is, complementary or compatible to everything, and to classical homeopathy as well. So, but both of them are amazing. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the clarification. Yeah, I know, now I know the difference. And there is no difference between homeopathy, if classical or medical, I know. And there is a department in the academy, the integrative medicine. Could you please explain a little about it? If
Integrative medicine department.
yeah.
So if you go to integrative medicine department, you see that there are different courses, right? We have even aromatherapy, right? We have epitherapy, we have phytotherapy, we have gemotherapy, we have oligotherapy, we have epigenetic, we have even homeopathic medicine. If somebody wants to become integrative medicine practitioner, they can choose all those modalities, like four courses from integrative medicine to become integrative medicine practitioner. So it depends on their interest. For example, I had one inquiry came from Iran, from Iran or from Turkey. From Turkey, that they want to have like phytotherapy with epitherapy with aromatherapy, all those together. And there are options. We chose modalities that they are compatible and they're enhancing each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not contradicting, right? They're not contradicting. So you can choose any courses from integrative medicine to get a diploma.
And how long does it take for any courses?
Each course is 10 hours, generally speaking. But the diploma program is, for example, for doctors like you, is 12 months. So because diploma is, it's not only courses. Diploma is after that is a research. You have to do research. You have to do the clinical hours. You have to do your articles and all.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. And I can see the day that we will have changing in the views, in the approach in medicine, and to be holistic view, and see all four bodies and treat them, and back them to the harmony and alignment.
absolutely.
Using medical and homeopathy, everything in the one pathway.
Yes, yes. So we have natural medicine, we have homeopathy, we have home toxicology. Everything depends on what you really want to do, right? Like Dr. Wan, after she's graduating, right? But she told me I think a couple of times that she wants to learn homeopathic organotherapy. So for me was interesting. How did you come with this? How did you come with it? So she that's her interest. She did some research that what is the best modality in addition to her current practice. She found this. She found organotherapy is the best, which I highly recommend it to everybody to do the star code medicine. Star code medicine is amazing, and so that's how like Dr. Diaz, for example, she was interested in aromatherapy. She did some research on that, right? And if she wants to get more knowledge, so she can take a course, or she can do research on her own. I mean, everybody has a different kind of interest. Depends on what you want, how you want to build your practice, and what is compatible with your current practice. For example, if somebody is acupuncturist and wants to come to classical homeopathy, which I'm gonna have a talk, say, listen, these two modalities are not compatible in terms of doing it at the same time. It's not that acupuncturists cannot be a homeopath. Yes, they can. Homeopath can, but doing it at the same time, they don't work together. So even aromatherapy is not compatible with homeopathy. They don't work together, but not necessarily that you cannot use them in a separate timing. So depends, as I said, depends on your interest. Now I still don't know, Dr. Farbot. I know your interest. But
what is? Please tell me. Okay.
We're gonna meet soon, right?
Yeah.
Because by December you're deciding, right?
Yes.
I'm
interested in all of them.
step by
All
step.
of the courses.
Step by step. I'm sure that my beautiful scholars, I love them all. So they come back. They gradually come back again. It was a little bit too much for them because it was a hard work. They worked hard.
Yes.
And yes, for me, if you say, okay, go and write and do research on this, because it's 30 years behind it, right? 30 years of experience and work and practice and study behind it. I can do it in a couple of hours. But, medical doctors just came to this arena. It's not an easy thing, and they did it. They nailed it. They did it, beautifully. And you do the same thing, Dr. Farwood. Don't worry about it. You will do the same.
Thank you so much. Thank you.